Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about this movie. So I didn't know much about The Substance when it first came out. I just saw that it got really good reviews and it starred Margaret Qualley, who I'm a huge fan of. I didn't really look into it that much until my consigliere admir said to me, yo, you gotta watch this. Usually when I'm recommended stuff, I put it to the side, but I was told it's a must watch and that it's specifically up my alley. I was like, alright, fine. I guess I'll lock in and take a look. So I saw that it was a body horror, which I thought was interesting. Read that some of the performances were Oscar worthy, and I would frequently see stills or clips of the film on Twitter, most notably the one with Margaret Qualley smiling awkwardly. So I told myself, yeah, this movie needs to be watched ASAP. Fast forward a few months later, my fault, relax son, jeez, I know, I got lazy, my bad, God. And I finally watched The Substance, and I can finally say that this movie is disgusting, gross, repulsive, and just straight up fucking amazing. An absolute masterclass in filmmaking and the best film of 2024 for me personally. After the film finished, I sat and looked at the floor for a good 3 minutes, contemplating what I just watched. The movie then consumed my thoughts for a week, and I started texting a lot of my moviegoer friends that they need to watch The Substance immediately. Now, if you're watching this video, I'm going to assume you've already watched the film, so spoilers, and if you're here without having watched it, then you're a fucking criminal who should be locked up. So every year since like 2019, there's always been a film that I deeply fall for. In 2019 it was Parasite, in 2020 it was Palm Springs. 2021 was type slow, I'm not gonna lie. I really didn't have a film that I kind of gushed over, which kind of contradicts my statement, but I'll just go with No Way Home, I guess. Boring ass answer, I know. 2022 was Everything Everywhere All at Once, and 2023 was The Holdovers. All these films stuck with me after I watched them for the first time, and they still stick with me to this day. And that's what The Substance is for me now. A piece of art that will always stick with me. One that I'll always remember. For a plethora of reasons. An absurd amount of reasons. An oceanic amount of reasons. There's a lot I want to say about this film, because this film says a lot. And it does so without saying too much. Does that make sense? Probably not, but let's just keep it moving. Just shut up, we're moving, let's go. To me, the most moving films are the ones that initiate a conversation. Ones that force you to think and broaden your perspective. Everything about The Substance is a conversation starter. Everything. Like, I'm not even fucking around. Every aspect of this film is tactically and surgically placed. It's very easy to tell when a film's director has a clear and focused vision. Coralie Fargeat's direction is very apparent here, and there's a confidence in her directing that we see throughout the film. The Substance oozes confidence, that's what it does. It understands what it is. It has an identity. We see that through the amazing camera work, sound and set design, and fluid progression of the story that becomes increasingly disturbing act by act. There's not a minute in this film where I felt that it was losing its identity or veering off from what it was originally presented as. And you can tell that this film is a product of someone who's confident in her storytelling abilities, both from a visual and character standpoint. In regards to the acting, Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley were like LeBron James and Kyrie Irving in the 2016 NBA Finals. Or perhaps Kobe and Shaq. Or LeBron James and Dwayne Wade. Take your pick. Absolutely insane performances from both, and they each deserve Oscar nominations. And the fact that they each did what they did with not a lot of dialogue, for lack of a better term, is genuinely nuts. To me at least. They both had the difficult task of cultivating convincing performances through physicality and facial expressions. Gun to my head, I would say this is the best performance of Demi Moore's career. Shout out her performance in Ghost though, just cuz. That scene of her getting ready for the date with Fred, fucking bum ass Fred, is one of the defining scenes of the 2020s so far. If there's one scene that kind of captures the essence of The Substance, it's that one. It's a scene we can all relate to. The eternal dissatisfaction of how we look when we're getting ready for a date or hangout. So many times during the process, we're our biggest enemy, cause there's an eternal voice telling us, you could look a little better. Meaning we don't look good enough, and that creates a never-ending obstacle we have to overcome. Cause no one will ever reach perfection. And sometimes our insecurities will make us think that our inability to do so is the worst thing in the world, even though it's not. Demi Moore captures that everlasting struggle flawlessly in this scene. Margaret Qualley, in my opinion, is the best young actress of this generation that no one talks about. Look, I understand that the Florence Pughs and the Zendayas and the Sydney Sweeneys and the Anya Taylor-Joys are at the forefront of leading actresses this generation. And don't get me wrong, they're great, but I feel like Margaret Qualley is constantly delivering and doesn't get as much credit as the others. Leftovers and Maid Gang, stand up. She's absolutely magnetic in this film as well, and when I talked about the element of facial acting, Qualley is batting 400 when it comes to that. She just knows how and when to use her eyes to convey emotion, and it's something that so many actors try to do but end up failing because they overdo it. Not Qualley though. It's already tough to match Demi Moore in this film, but there's an added layer of difficulty because Margaret has to basically portray someone who's perfect. And how do you portray someone who's perfect? No one's perfect. And I can't really give you an explanation as to how. I just know Margaret Qualley hit it out the park and nailed it. Oh, and by the way, can we give a quick shout out to her for embracing her natural teeth? All these stars are getting veneers and shit, big ups to her for rocking what she got. But both women deserve all the praise in the world for allowing themselves to be vulnerable and having the courage to act under very uncomfortable circumstances. I don't think a third act of a film left me more speechless than this one. And there was never a moment to breathe or reset either because so much shit was happening. But my god, what a way to end the film. Initially, I thought, where the fuck is this going? How are we ending this? Because the movie was unpredictable enough that it didn't feel like we'd close with a typical one of them is gonna have to kill the other and take over scenario. And while that's kind of what happened, they went a step further where both of them got cooked and we ended up getting Monstro Elizasu. Elizasu, bro. Tough to put this one into words, not gonna lie. So the ending going balls to the wall and just having a Carrie-esque impact was the correct decision, to me at least. 1, you're going to remember this ending and it will affect you. And 2, while it's a very personal journey between two individuals and usually a small scale ending suits that type of setup, does the film's message stick if the ending wasn't what it was? Are people talking about the substance as much as they should be? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not.
Maybe fuck yourself.
I just know that the ending we got is one that will stay with me for a while, and it made the movie even more memorable than it already was. Another major talking point of The Substance has been the set design and just overall style of it. I can confidently say that stylistically, this is a top 3 film for me. One of the key strengths of the movie is its clever use of specific colors. Elizabeth wears a sunny yellow coat, and while the color represents a warm and optimistic feeling, it can also be linked with a feeling of anxiety and fear. Every time Elizabeth is picking up the package from the shady spot, she's wearing her yellow coat, the camera is shaky, and there's a genuine nervousness in the scene. The hallway that both Elizabeth and Sue walk through is orange, and similar to yellow, it's considered an energetic and warm color. However, orange can also symbolize youthfulness. When Elizabeth walks by, there's posters of her when she was a young star, her youthfulness on display. Sue becomes the new it girl, and there's a Barbie-like energy that she oozes. So how do we make that apparent to the audience? Well, what color is often associated with Barbie? Pink. So we see Sue often affiliated with the color pink. Coralie Fargeat's vision and attention to detail should absolutely be applauded, because she uses every possible thing she can to further what the film is trying to say while also grabbing the audience's attention. I mentioned set design earlier. Holy shit, the set design in this film. There's an emphasis on Elizabeth's apartment and long hallways and bathrooms in this movie. Just mad space, so much space. You'll get a bunch of different answers when it comes to analysis of the set design in this film, which is expected. To me though, Elizabeth's apartment is structured in a way that matches what Elizabeth herself is thinking. It's a spacious, lavish, and expensive spot, but there's only one person living there. Most of the time we see Elizabeth at her place, she's thinking, she's distressed, and she's unsatisfied. The sets in The Substance are metaphorical in a way where it's similar to how we process the feeling of beauty. It's an isolated mindset with a variety of options surrounding us in order to become quote-unquote beautiful. There's a bunch of resources we can use and buy in order to achieve the feeling of looking good, and yet it's a feeling that seems unattainable at times. We feel unfulfilled in a way. Elizabeth has the whole world right in front of her, and yet it feels like she's looking at nothing. In a weird but similar way, we can buy and order products whenever we want, but most of the time, it feels like nothing works. The hallways feel like purgatory and a never-ending loop, which is kind of how it feels when we try to look the best we can. The Substance is a commentary on the absurdity of beauty standards and the unhealthy obsession in trying to reach them. We sometimes lose our true selves in trying to look like someone we're not. And of course, beauty is subjective, but for some reason, we tend to think the lowest of ourselves from a physical standpoint. Everything about the process of achieving pure beauty is a defense mechanism from our harshest critic, ourselves. We're the ones that think we're not good enough, or that other people won't be satisfied with how we look. It's why self-love feels like a journey without a destination. Because we sometimes ask ourselves, how will I love myself if others don't? Even though it should be the other way around. How are others going to love me if I don't love myself? The Substance shows how internal battles lead to external consequences, and it's fucking brilliant in doing so. So yeah, The Substance. Easily my favorite movie of 2024. I hope it gets genuine love from the Oscars because it's legitimately a well-made film. Dude, the makeup and prosthetics, fuck me, I don't even think I mentioned this yet. My god, did they add another layer to this film. Shout out practical effects, man. It made everything feel more impactful, and it added to the grotesque factor, which is what they seem to be aiming for. Just more oomph, you know? Dennis Quaid eating shrimp might have been the most disgusting scene in this movie, which says a lot. If you're easily repulsed by disgusting shit, maybe this movie isn't for you. But if you think you can tolerate it, this is a must-watch film. I know we throw out words like generational and masterclass often, but I truly think those words apply to The Substance, or else I wouldn't have made this video essay. Acting, subject matter, camera work, set design, makeup, just general impact. This movie has it all, and I'm sure it'll be on Criterion sooner than later. Like, it just screams Criterion. Hope you guys enjoyed this vid. Let me know what you thought of The Substance, and yeah, peace.